This video is in reaction to the tons of comments by indigenous South Africans regarding the video I had recently put up on my social media platforms. As a matter of fact, I received a good number of reactions on my Facebook, regarding the same video where I talked about, the ongoing xenophobic attack in the southernmost country in Africa, or the African continent, which happens to be South Africa. I would like to start off with saying, look, when it comes to African country known for housing a good number of African migrants, South Africa is sitting at the #1 position. Housing between 2.4 to 3 million African migrants. But South Africa is not the only country known for housing a good number of, African migrants. To surprise you to know that Cote d'Ivoire, also known as Ivory Coast, houses like a good number of African migrants. And according to reports, Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, houses over 2.6 million African migrants. Now back to the root cause of, this video, right? Xenophobic attack. In the last video I made, I already highlighted the reasons. The reason why xenophobic attack is being carried out on, African nationals in South Africa by indigenous Black South Africans. They claim African nationals come take their jobs, take their spaces, enjoy benefits and services that should be meant for indigenous South Africans. Now let me ask you this question, or let me make you understand this. If you are concerned about xenophobic attack also being a thing in Ivory Coast, well, sadly, it is a thing in Ivory Coast. It happens. But what are the circumstances surrounding it? The reason for xenophobic attacks in Ivory Coast? For one, political inducements. Most times it's been politically induced. Of course, the sitting president of Ivory Coast, Al-Hassan Ouattara, who's currently in his 4th tenure as president of the West African country, there are perceptions about him being originally from Burkina Faso, him being a Burkinabe, right person. And not originally from Ivory Coast, not an original Ivorian, but from Burkina Faso. And opposition politicians, try to incite the people, induce the people, and you see it results to, xenophobic attacks. Right. Now, that's that. Political inducement. Now, there's this other reason, misinformation. I think the most recent xenophobic attack that happened in Ivory Coast, that was 2021, was as a result of rumors being spread about Nigerians, persons from the Niger Republic, attacking and maiming Ivorians. And Ivorians at the time took matters into their hands, retaliating, maiming, and attacking Nigerians. Now, there you have it. There are also cases of, there's a economic downtime, rather. You see Ivorians taking it out on, foreigners, that's, African migrants. But there you have it. Compare and contrast. When you also talk about consistency, you talk about xenophobic attacks in South Africa. Give it a year, 2 years, you see another xenophobic attack happen. But that's not the case in Ivory Coast, all right? It's always like a long margin. But I also need to say this. The reason for this video is in order to educate whoever it is that come across it. Let's even take it back to how xenophobic attacks started. I already highlighted it. It started immediately after, the apartheid era, which lasted from 1948 down to 1994. And the first xenophobic attack happened immediately after the Black South African community, got liberation, right? And at the time, it was said that there was an influx of African migrants into the country, both legal and illegal migrants. And at the time, Black South Africans took matters or laws into their hands, maiming and attacking illegal migrants. Now, what was the mechanism in place to identify, okay, this person is legal and this person is not? For one, it is said that if you're a legal migrant in South Africa, you should move about with your documents.
What?
Make it make sense to me. That is ridiculous. But that was the situation at the time. Now, if you're being caught without a document and say they perceive you're not South African, it might interest you to know that skin tone was also a factor. The idea was indigenous South Africans are not known to have a dark skin tone. So if you're caught and you have a dark skin shade or tone without the documents, they just wrap it up. This person is a migrant and an illegal migrant at that, and you risk getting attacked or maimed by indigenous South Africans. It will also shock you or surprise you to know that even core South Africans fell victim.
Wait a minute.
call South Africans with dark skin tone. Of course, they are not going to be moving about with any document. They became victims because there are reports here and there. Like some got maimed, some got put behind bars, by the police. Now, these are the issues or areas we need to look into, right? And I think it was on my YouTube. A South African had put up a comment saying, "Look, didn't African nationals get the memo?" Right? There was a memo for African migrants, both legal and illegal, to leave their country. All right, because they were going to carry out a protest on the 4th. That was Monday, and they did carry out that protest. Not minding the fact that President Cyril Ramaphosa, that's the president of South Africa, had put out a statement saying, "Look, let's not forget the apartheid era. Who stood by us during that time? Between 1948 down to 1994, it was African nationals, African presidents, African nations standing by us, providing some of our basic needs, providing education, military training, even funds." So how is it that we are resorting to treating these African nationals this way? Now, this brings me back to asking that question. South Africans already said it. Oh, we're probably xenophobic, because that's most like comments. I got comments like that on my Facebook. We're probably xenophobic, right? And you would ask yourself this question: is this actually a show of bravery? You want to take back your country? Is this a show of bravery or cowardice? Let me know what you think in the comment section. And do not forget, we've got like African nationals, say in other South African democratic community regions. Talk about Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Lesotho. We have core South Africans in these other countries, but they keep maiming these African nationals, that come into their country to probably find greener pasture. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Bye for now.